Hello everybody and welcome to the finest and freshest football club TV in the land. It is the KCCA FC TV show and we are back like we told you, fresher, re-energized and recharged definitely every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9. That is the new show time for this TV show. And this is a platform where you get to get everything, the latest in terms of breaking news at the football club, exclusive interviews, that latest update from the football club. Could it be a new signing? Could be someone leaving the football club? Could be an update about maybe the stadium construction. Name it, anything about KCCAFC TV. That is, you'll be able to get it here on the KCCAFC TV show. It is season 5, episode 9 of the KCCAFC TV show. My name is Magera Moses Mwanje and I'm your host. You and I are definitely walking this journey together. And definitely not be doing this alone. I am with the usual suspects, Patrick Ocheng, not a very new face on the KCCFC TV. Patrick, very humbled and pleased to have you on the show once again tonight.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, and probably how has your week been?
The week has been a tight one because we are having a resumption of the show that had taken a sabbatical for, I think, a month and a half.
Okay.
So it has been a hectic one trying to create content for the KCCFC fans so that they can see what they've been missing for the maybe 1.5 months that the show has been on a break. So yeah, and I'm happy. The weekend is actually ending and I've not had so much fun over the week for myself. Well,
talking about giving people and the fans that do watch this show fresh content, something that recently happened this week, the under-18 national men's team, that is for Uganda, going ahead to win, that is the CECAFA under-18 boys championship in Kenya. Now we have the pictures of everything that happened, just like you see on that screen. And I'll tell you that KCCFC was represented by 2 teenagers, that is Abubakar Mayanja and Alex Yiga. These went ahead together with their other colleagues to win this tournament, that is the CECAFA under-18 men's championships. And this was in Kenya. Like I told you, KCFC represented by 2 teenagers in there. Obviously, the former manager for KCFC also, Molevie Kwaso, being the head coach of that team. And we'll be talking about that later on. And Patrick, maybe just if you can mention a thing or two about that team and probably what caught your attention during that tournament.
I think for me, I want to dwell so much on the KCCA bit, the fact that Abubakar Mayanja was on a score sheet when Uganda Cranes, the under-18, actually beat Rwanda. Was it in the semi-finals?
Yeah.
1-0, and it was Abubakar Mayanja's goal that actually gave Uganda Cranes, if you can see the goal there, and the under-18 actually qualified to the next stage. And for me, I think this is a player that KCCFC is also missing, the fact that KCCA struggles maybe to score goals. I know at home they've been scoring the goals for fun, 6 and 3, but I think the services of Abubakar Mayanja in front of goal is dearly missed by KCCA.
I'm going to cut you short, Patrick. There will be going back to that under-18 story that is for the Uganda men's national team. But then we have a social media question that we put up on our pages and it will also be displaying on the screen. And we asked you that what do you make of KCCFC's performance in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League thus far? And what has been your standout performance so far? So head down to the KCCFC, that is Twitter and Facebook page. And you can call it X. I'm told now Twitter is called X. So now when you go to those pages, please give in your comment what has been your best KCCFC's performance in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League thus far, and also what has been your standout performance. So head down on our official pages and take part in that discussion. We'll be able to read some of your answers here on the show. Now we dive back in that under-18 story, and Patrick, like we mentioned, the CECAFA under-18 championship is in Uganda, and like I said, KCFC represented by 2 teenagers in there, Abubakar Mayanja, and that is a player, and also Alex Yiga, teenagers, youngsters, chosen to be part of that team. Initially, the initial list had about 3 of them, plus Dembe, and I think his club did not release this one, so 2 were able to travel, and also including the former KCFC manager in there, Molevie Kwaso, who now gets to win his second CECAFA championship. Remember, he won the CECAFA Under-20 championship in 2021. And now he gets on, no, that was 2020, that is December. So 2021, they played in the AFCON Under-20. So now he gets to win his second CECAFA championship. Also, what do you have to make of these teenagers? We talked about Abubakar Mayanja, top class guy. He scored 2 goals for KCCAFC. That was in the Super 8. Scored the goal, I think, against Abu Salem in CECAFA.
Yes.
And he scored the goal that took us to the final. Plus Alex Yeager, who has spent the first quarter of the season away in Scotland on football trials, back home playing for his nation. These 2 teenagers, and also the entire team at large.
For me, I think I would like to first give credit where it's due. I know the boys put up a fight and they really won the trophy, but you also have to give credit to Coach Molebiekwaso for the job well done. I think he has some connection with these young players, and for me, before you go to credit the players, I think he always gets it right when it comes to these young kids. And looking at Abubakar Mayanja, of course, like his Twitter handle says, is a goal poacher. And that is a typical goal poacher goal. If you look at the kind of goal that he scored, that is actually him poaching. And also Alex Yeager, the fact that he spent much of his time in Scotland doing trials and coming on to actually put up a spirited fight and a good performance. Actually, there are games he came on as a substitute. He didn't start every game. But the games where he came in as a substitute, he really played well, and kudos to the team.
Talking about a poacher in there, Abubakar Mayanja, that's a player that is yet to score in the league for KCCAFC or in any other competition. He has only scored in the CAF, but I'm thinking a goal in CAF should be bigger than even a goal in the league. Oh, a goal is a goal.
A goal is a goal. But actually, his goal in CAF, when KCCA was playing Abu Salim, that is in Tunisia, it actually kept KCCA into the tie because the game ended, was 3-1.
3-1 away?
Yes, 3-1 away. So that meant KCCA needed a 2-0. Had it ended 3-0, that would have been a big mountain for KCCA to climb. That would have meant they need to win maybe 3-0, go in penalties, or 4-0 for KCCA to qualify. So that one goal of Abu Mayanja helped KCCA. And I know the goals will come. In the Pilsner Super 8, he got the goals there. And yeah, everything was good for him. I know the goals will come. He's still a teenager. Just look at the guys he's competing with. He's competing with Muhammad Shaban. He's competing with Usama, Arafat. So I also kind of get the situation.
First put in that team, as we wind this topic up, that is for the CECAFA Under 18, do you see these teenagers walk straight into Abdallah Mubiru's team when they return, or they've got to really work their socks into that team?
I actually don't think they're going to walk into the team. If you look at the form that Muhammad Shaban is in, and you look at the form that Usama Arafat is in, you look at the form Katenga Etienne is in, and that is where you can see Abu Mayanja can play. He's a center forward, but he can play also off the wings. And the players there right now are senior players who have accumulated playing time and have also on form, so I don't see it happening.
Well, away from the Under 18, all we can say here at the KCCFC TV show that all the best for the future. This is the future of the Ugandan football. We are, like I said, we had 2 teenagers in there. And the AFCON 2027 is around the corner. And who knows, about 4 years from now, 4-5 years from now, we might have some of these guys walk straight into that Uganda Cranes team. Now, focusing on the changes that have happened at KCCFC, so much has happened in the last 2 months that actually this show did happen.
Some of us even would not be here. You never know.
I'll tell you that October, November, this show did happen. Now we're in December.
Yes.
We last aired in September, right? And actually August. No, September.
It was September, yeah.
But so much happened in there. We had, we hosted Miss Tadese Maskerem. That is the lady that heads female football. That is at CAF. What are some of the highlights that happened during this time before I dive into what we're going to be talking next? So much has happened. We are definitely changing the technical team.
For me, I think the highlights are, it has been very hard to actually see KCCAFC win games. But my highlights are the manner in which it actually won the games. The hardest game against Vipers and also winning 6 against Gaddafi. So for me, that is my highlight. I wouldn't want to say much about it now because I know we are going to talk much about it.
Well, straight into it, the changes in the technical team, where we had coach Sergio Daniel Traguil Moniz leave the football club. That is mutually agreed with KCCFC to part ways because he noted that he had a family issue, and that is the reason as to why he had to leave the team. In came Jackson Magera on interim basis, who took charge of that team for about 3 games against NEC, and then there was Arua Hill away, and then Vipers at home. And then finally, Abdallah Mubiru returning for his second stint as a head coach, but also his 3rd stint as a coach at the football club, because he's one of those stints back then where he was an assistant manager. He's back as a head coach for KCCAFC. So the changes in the technical team together with the entire technical team. In your view, do you see these changes take KCCA? What do you have to think? Or what do you think about them?
For me, I think Sergio was a very good coach. The football that he was playing was the kind of football that KCCA plays, the tic-tac football, the football that involves players passing the ball. And for me, I think things just didn't work out for him. There was no draw. I think he lost, he was in charge of 4 games. Okay. He lost all the 4 games. And for me, that was nowhere good to the standards of KCCA Football Club, because KCCA Football Club in its entire history, since it was formed in 1963, has not been at the relegation positions ever. And it happened. So I think the club had to swallow the hard pill. He had only been in charge of 4 games, and the 2 that were in CAF, Confederations Cup. That is before you talk about the other 3 in the Pilsner Super 8, Wakiso Giants, URA and SC Villa. And the results you felt were not coming, and the club had to part ways mutually with him. Then Magera came in. I think he also had a tough a tough period because the team was not performing. He goes to Arua Hill. No, he plays NEC. He loses at home. Then he goes to Arua Hill, picks KCCA's first point. It was a draw. Then faces Vipers. One of the biggest, Vipers was unbeaten, by the way. Then he pulls a masterclass. He actually wins 3-1. And that is a game that I think is the hardest for KCCA. And it came out and won. Then, unfortunately, after that game, the club had to bring in Abdallah Mubiru. And he has also been in charge of the games he has been in charge of. So
someone going ahead to make a joke there and say that Jackson Magera actually beat that Vipers team single-handedly, because if you look at the technical bench that day for KCCAFC, he literally was there alone.
He was the goalkeeper's coach. Of course, he was alone. There was no one at the technical bench because the club had not yet
announced a new technical team.
Yes,
and then our compatriots had about 10 plus.
They had 10 plus on the technical bench. Yes. Actually, that technical bench was full of the coaches, the players that sat the other side. Yeah. So he had Jackson Magera, the only, actually, people are calling it one-man army. He managed the Vipers team alone.
One-man army, and in comes Abdallah Mubiru, former player of the football club, 1996 to 1998. He used to play as a holding midfielder during his playing days. And he has definitely coached KCFC before as an assistant coach, then as a coach. That was before Mike Motebi took over the team in 2015. Abdallah Mubiru was the coach, and is back for his second stint as a head coach, but third stint as a coach at KCCFC. What do you have to make of Abdallah Mubiru's philosophy and his kind of way?
His philosophy is the kind of philosophy that KCCA would want from a head coach. I think that is why, after too much scrutiny and looking into what KCCAFC wants as a team, they actually came down to the kind of coach that they want. With KCCAFC, yes, winning is something that has to be done, but how do you win? It's not just about kicking the ball and then it finds its way to the back of the net. There has to be a style of play. There has to be flowing football where the ball is intentionally played from one player to the other with the aim of making sure that the ball finds its way to the back of the net. And I think he's the right man for the job. The way KCCA plays, he's the guy that is going to take KCCA forward. You look at that game against Gaddafi, it actually shows you the kind of way that KCCA is supposed to play, the intensity. Actually, first half, the reason why KCCA scored there were 5 goals. Five goals in first half. It showed you the kind of intensity that the players had. They were running the pitch. Everyone was fighting for the ball, and that's why the first half ended 5-0. And for me, if that continues, of course, it's work in progress. He found a team that was struggling. That's why the results are not yet there. But when you look at the way KCCA is playing, at least there is some change, and I know that things will work out. 4
games in for Abdallah Mubiru, and 2 wins at home, 2 losses away, not forgetting that game against Busoga United, where you felt KCCAFC had the upper hand on that day to probably win that game, but because of very many things that happened in that game, the rain and all that, and the game being played under very unfortunate circumstances, KCFC going on to lose 2-1. But he has gone on to win 2 games at home. That is, he has won the 6-1 against Gaddafi, and then he went on to lose to Mbara City away, and also losing to Busoga United. So he's played 3 games, 3 games during his reign. some of the players blossoming under him so far. I think, what do you have to talk about? Some of the players that have come up during, because they say everyone has a different chance.
Yeah.
And also, especially to shine. Look at a player like Dominic Ayala and Rogers Atube, who were probably not getting as much playing time back then, but have featured in almost all the games under Abdallah Mobiru.
For me, I think that is the only positive I would, not the only positive, but I think it's a positive that I would also want to look at. The fact that the players like Dominic Ayala, who actually had not yet started any game the entire season. He actually even hardly played last season. And here he comes, started against Busoga United and actually scored a goal.
2 goals in 2 games.
Yes, he scored 2 goals in 2 games, came against Gaddafi, and he also scored. It shows you that the coach is entrusting some young players who may not have gotten that playing time. And for me, I think it is very good to see such players get playing time. And then you also have Rogers Atube, who has also come up and actually, if players are not careful, they may now start to fight for positions in that team. It's no longer, I'm the guy of this position.
You mean before people were not fighting for positions?
I think there's complacency in some players. So now, if there is competition, if you have Dominic Ayala, who hadn't started any game this season, coming in to actually start playing and scoring, then you have Rogers Atube, who also hasn't been playing games, coming in to start. Atube has started the last 2 games, and he's actually performing. So that tells you anyone can now be displaced as long as they are not performing.
He's actually started the last 3 games because he started against Busoga United, he started against Gaddafi Football Club, and also started against Mbara City. Well, I think differently a little bit from what Patrick says, that players will start to fight for positions. They have always fought for positions. It's just that
I mean the ones that are being displaced. Because if Rogers Atube and Dominic Ayala were not getting playing time, it means there were certain players that were getting the playing time. If they are now getting the playing time, it means there are some players that are being displaced, and now for them to get back into the team, they have to actually work harder, maybe times 10, and put in the effort that they weren't putting in.
Well, Abdallah Mobiru coming in there as the head coach of KCCAFC, and definitely assisted by 2 gentlemen in there, Kefa Chisala and Jackson Magera, and the goalkeeping coach being Moses Oloya. The fitness coach, Felix Ayobo, and the other coaches, that is Saka Mpima, a former player of the football club, maintaining that position as the junior team coach. And also the doctors in there as Ivan Sewanyana and Emmanuel Tusubi as another doctor, physiotherapist. And the kids men, or the kids managers in there, we have Betty Nantali and Kawoya, that gentleman there, Bashir Kawoya. So those, that makes the technical team of KCCAFC, and those will be the guys that will be working under Mr. Abdallah Mobiru. Heading back to our social media question that we asked earlier on, and that is on Twitter, or call it X. What do you make of KCCAFC's performance in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League thus far, and what has been your standout performance so far? We have some responses that is on Twitter, and we'll start off to read some of these. And Ivan Wabu says, is the jersey Pato wearing available on sale? Well, he will be talking about that later on, but the club has not been able to communicate that. Ivan Wabu comes on and says again, intentional performance against Vipers. That's what the team needs going forward. So that should be a standout performance. Thank you very much, Ivan. We have Timothy Ogwal on X saying, just give manager time. An outstanding course has to be 3-1 win over Vipers. That is Timothy Ogwal. Isaac Molindo says, the game we played against Vipers so far is the best. I like the effort the boys put in. That should be almost everyone's best game this season. And then some of the quoted tweets here. KCCFC TV, our standout performance of the team is automatically against our old enemies from Chitendi. The spelling there from Mr. Chiraga Kenneth. Ubuntu Africa says there is yet a standout performance. You guys lack proper defense midfielder, as well as having a very porous defense, and that is the opinion of Mr. Ubuntu Africa. And then finally, on Twitter, Mr. Isaac Emoran Calvin says that this is a wrong topic. That is Isaac Emoran Calvin. Okay, Mr. Ivan Emoran Calvin, we are very civil here on the KCFC TV show, and all we can say is, please.
We want everyone to have a thought today.
You can send in your thoughts. That is what we had to send in for today, but probably as we wind this up when it comes to Twitter, because we'll read those from Facebook, your standout performance so far this season, just your standout, may not go deep into that.
My standout performance will have to be KCCA Vipers. And for me, it's because Magera Jackson was on the touchline alone. And the team played like they really wanted to win. And for me, I think that is my standout performance this season. I won't go with the 6-1, even though KCCA scored very many goals. That is something different. But for me, the Vipers game, where everyone actually thought Vipers was going to demolish KCCA, it happened the other way around.
Talking about the standout performance and talking about Mr. Jackson Magera, we have an exclusive interview that is with Mr. Jackson Magera, and all this will be happening after the break.
The daylight makes most things shine. With the right lights, everything looks bright. Gent brings the magnificence, elegance, and beauty of your home to life. Crafted to perfection. Detail and extravagance, leaving nothing to chance. Your dream home is only a switch away. Switch to the best. Gent Electric.
All right, welcome back from that break, and you're still watching the KCCAFC TV show live on NBS Sport, a channel that is championing Ugandan sport. Now, we asked you a question earlier on, and that will be showing on our on our screen. The question is, what do you make of KCCAFC's performance in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League thus far, and what has been your standout performance so far? And we already had people answer on Twitter. Now, on Facebook, Watchman Steve says, I've been a KCCAFC fan since 2007. I have never experienced sadness from my team like this season. Our performance so far has been poor, pathetic, and disappointment. Yet we have very many good players. I think we really need to step up and do better. And that is Watchman Steve. Aligaman Wazi, and you'll be seeing some of those responses on your screen. Our performance has been below expected. And then he says, standout performance to me was in the game against Vipers. The team played as if they meant it. That is Aligaman Wazi, that is on Facebook. Then Ernest on Facebook says, they have been trying to play KCCAFC way, but the defending is beyond bad. Well, there are solutions to that, Mr. Ernest, and you'll be seeing some of the results from those solutions very soon. Intege Eddie says, technical department should help us to get an outstanding goalkeeper, plus central defenders. Those are weakest points in the team. That is Intege Eddie. Serunjoji Nito says, so poor and not even a single match I can point out that we deserve to win. Mr. Serunjoji Nito, that is very gentleman. Mulindwa Matovu Isaac says, thanks for the show, Moses and Patrick. Me, the game we played against Vipers, for sure, it was the best so far. And he says, so far, the boys gave in a lot of effort, and to win the game, greetings to Joshua and Betty. Then Aikobua Jerry says he's been disappointed for the biggest part of this season. And Aisu Michael says, first, how comes the grammar spellings? Okay, this is Aisu Michael, but his message is not quite clear. And then finally, Sean Stewart, he says, with all honesty, up to now, I really do not know, because he does not know what is happening. That is Sean Stewart. And those are some of the responses that we've had for you from our Facebook. And like we told you, always head down to our social media handles. That is KCCAFC on Facebook, and then at KCCAFC on X, or call it Twitter. And when you're participating in some of these polls or social media questions, always use that hashtag KCCAFC TV. And there we can be able to track all your responses, and we'll be able to read them on different segments here on the show. That is our social media segment. And straight into it, Patrick, you caught up with Mr. Jackson Magera this week. Like what we say here on the KCCAFC TV show, that pictures tell a better story. We'll let that interview first play because Mr. Jackson Magera talks about the current performance of the team and also what needs to be done, what needs to be addressed. And so much he talked about during that interview. Like what we say, that pictures tell a better story. Here is the assistant coach, Jackson Magera, talking about the current performance of KCCFC.
Obaddewo mu phases zonna eza club sofa season eno timu yakazanya emipiira 10 kati 10 Mbarara City ku mipiira gyawe KCCA yakafuna akabonero kamu kokka yali draw against Arua Hills. Olozo obuzibu buvaawa?
Kigambana kigamba timu nga bw'ogiraba abaana abasinga bonna abapya level sometimes etawanya nnyo kati bakyakalamatizing embeera otunya abazannyi nga Bumayanja betulina bajowero LVC bonna abaana bazibu bakyali abaana abapya bajja okuva ebweru nabo embeera y'ensi osanga sometimes kibatwalidde ebbanga okukola ki okwakalamatizinga so kati buli tugenda kwawe ebiseera ebisinga balakinga mu character eyokulwana okuteekawo performance eyo nti opponent ate ye manya wabeera ewaka asituka nnyo kati tekimala gajja ekyo kyetaaza obudde sometimes okusinziira ku baana bano level yaabwe n'emyaka gyabwe so yensonga lwaki olumu tusitwagolinga mu mbeera eyo.
Naye olaba ng'ovudde ne kwawe n'ewaka wennyini strugglinze nnyo twakawangula emipiira ebiri twakuba Viper omupiira ogwali omuzibu ennyo buli omu gwe yali asuubira nti tetusobola kuwangula ate gwe yali awo atachirayini wali wekka omupiira gwe wagusobola otya lwaki eyo tactic gye wakozesa ku Viper si ejja mu zino geemu endala
era ejja kujja nti buli opponent abaako n'engeri omwapurokingamu n'abasambi bano bennyini bamanyi oluusi babiteekamu compliance okunyomereza kyobolanga geemu kati nga wojja okulaba nti twasamba ne Express twasamba ne Maroon bateekawo oluusi okunyomereza balabanga nti ekijja okuba okuyisa omukka mu kisero kale omupiira ng'ogwa Viper nabo kati muli bagamba nti nabo balina otuwulira nti naffe tuli basajja
kati osuubira KCCA eno embeera esobola ogivaamu etya gwe ng'omukukuba omupiira oguluddemu KCCA obaddeyo waliko kuvira simanyi oba waliyo kaseera nayo ng'estruggling waliwo vira we yastruggling-irako awo waliyo embeera neevaamu kati etwale ne league season ewedde points zaali ze zaayawula league olowooza embeera eno KCCA egivuddemu etya?
Embeera ejja kugivaamu soka tiimu nnene abaana bano kyekisinga obatawanjira ekyo nti tiimu nnene yo buli geemu gye esambu eba fayino bayawonera obusatu kati babadde mu mbeera nga tebabimanyidde nnyo bagye babadde naye tulina okulwana okukibamanyiiza tulina okulwana kukibamanyiiza era Katonda ng'ali wamu naffe bajja kukimanyira kasatu banaabanga bawuliriza ebiragiro n'okubeera nga tukwatagana bulungi.
Coach, waliwo omuzannyi ajja ku KCCA nga tamanyi ttiimu nnene?
Ekyo kirala oyinza okujja ng'omanyi nnene naye nga ggwe
kuggwe entono
ng'obusobozi ebikyali nga si tebunnatuukirira.
So kitegeeza abamu beetaaga time
kubanga ino ka ttiimu yatuuka yakubanga oli perfectionist kuba tubeerawo n'ento if you are not ready to osooka eri muntu nojja because wano bakwetaaga ki top performance mu buli competition yonna.
Abazannyi bano betuyina nkimanyi oboogeddeko naye nga technical team olowooza nammwe temukoze kimala olowooza byonna bye mukoze ebimala tiimu okufuna obuwanguzi kuba twogedde nnyo bazannyi technical team olowooza mwe mukoze ekimala oba mulowooza waliwo kye mulina okwongeramu oba fitness y'abazannyi oba wetufuna tiimu nga zina physicality ey'amaanyi tustrugglinga
tukola naye era tukyakola kubanga liigi ebadde yakatandika myezi ng'ebiri esatu so tukyakolera ddala nnyo tewali wojja kugamba mu leero tukoleko kitono tiimu ne bwebe wangula buli nnaku olina kusigala ng'okola because liigi tebeeraawo nti coachinga mipiira ena kiwedde so tukola buli kisoboka areas zitunuulira leero mu game eno kiki kye tukoze obulungi tukimaintain kye tukoze obubi ne tukikolako naye nga omupiira si kintu just kyojjabuzaawo kubanga omupiira science ate ekintu kyonna ekiri mu science kitambula ne process okay kati kijja process abawagizi ekisookera ddala nsooka okubeebaza kuba babaddewo nnyo mu mbeera yonna ekitabo badde bajja kitegeeza ettiimu yaabwe bagirina ku musaayi bagirina ku mutima so nsookera ddala okubeebaza ennyo bwe tubale tugenze embalala bazze twagenda aluwahiirwe era nga tuli mu mbeera mbi ne basobola okulinnya ne bajja so kyembagala obakuutira nti babeere wamu naffe bajje tulwane kuwoza ttiimu ffenna etukwatako tulabe nga tugijjawo eri okugitwala paka olina okubeera.
Well, that is the assistant manager of KCCAFC and Mr. Jackson Magera giving his honest opinion about the recent form for KCCAFC, what he thinks is wrong, where he thinks the team probably needs to do better, and also talking about, I mean, the fact that when you get to KCCAFC, just if I'm to pick what he said there, that you're expected to have your best or your A game in each and every game, and some of the players may not be used to this as you wind this up. And before we get into the next probably topic, what do you have to make of that statement?
For me, I think I like the fact that he said what disturbs some players is the fact that KCCA is a big team. You see, you cannot sign players only from big teams. When I talk of big teams in Uganda, I think we have Vipers, Express, Villa, URA. So you cannot sign players from only those teams. It means you're going to sign players who, I wouldn't say small teams, but these are teams that do not have the kind of pressure that KCCA has. So the fact that he mentions that some of the players are not used to that pressure that KCCAFC comes with, and it disturbs at times. We've seen it in Europe. It's not only in Uganda, where a player comes into a big team and they struggle to adapt. So for me, I think they need some time, but with KCCAFC, you get the time, but you have to be winning games.
Speak about getting things better. KCCAFC's next fixture, that is the 11th Sometimes Uganda Premier League fixture for this season, will be against Solitudo Bright Stars, and this is on 12th of December, which is a Tuesday, 2 days from now. Actually, is it 2 days? Less than 2 days, because if that game is starting at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, and right now it's about to get to 9 p.m., that means we have less than 48 hours to that game. KCCAFC hosting Solitudo Bright Stars, and just a reminder that the last time KCCAFC played Bright Stars was last season, that is 2022-2023, the final game of the season, and KCCAFC went on to win that one 5-0 at the MTN Omondi Stadium. And remember, getting into that one, KCCAFC had a chance that if it won by a certain goal difference, and Vipers or Villa lost their games, then maybe KCCAFC would have.
How many goals were there?
Won that. It was 5-0, and I remember Rogers Mato scoring 4 in that one.
Like the goals KCCA needed to win the league, were they like 10 or 11?
Needed about 5-7 goals, and then the other teams losing.
They made up.
There was so much mathematics in there. But all I remember that we were playing Bright Stars, and Rogers Mato going on to score 4 goals in that game. Just to get you the head-to-head ahead of this one, both KCCAFC and Bright Stars have played 22 games, and in the last 22, KCCAFC has won 12, and Bright Stars have won 5. And both teams have shared spoils 5 times, while KCCAFC has been able to score 31 goals in 22 games, and then Bright Stars have been able to score 17 goals in 22 games. And then KCCAFC has been able to accumulate 41 points, that is from 22 games, while Bright Stars Football Club have 20 points from 22 games. This is a fixture according to the statistics. The statistics are in favor of KCCAFC, but on paper, over the recent years, we've been able to see that sometimes Bright Stars have been able to come to the MTN Omondi Stadium and pick the result, either draw or a loss. What do you have to make of this fixture?
I think one of the games that disturbed KCCA, apart from Barra City, is Solitudo Bright Stars, because over the years, Bright Stars actually would come at the MTN Omondi Stadium and pick up points. So for me, I think it won't be an easy game. The fact that KCCA, not to sound negative, but the fact that KCCA is still struggling here and there a little bit, it has not yet, because he hasn't been consistent. I think when we talk of the home form, I may say KCCA has started being a little consistent because it has won its last 2 games with, unconvincingly by the way, 6-1 against Gaddafi and then 3-1 against Vipers. So the fact that Bright Stars is coming to the MTN Omondi Stadium may be something that KCCA FC fans can smile about because it has picked form in its home games. Speaking
about the recent form for KCCA FC, won the last 2 games at home, something that the club had not seen in this season. And but then one might say out there that KCFC seems to be winning the games at home now, because if they have won 2 in 2, but then they never keep a clean sheet. What will happen when the team is supposed to win 1-0 and then you can't keep a clean sheet?
I think it's a process. It's a process. Before, it wasn't winning games at home. It actually lost 3. It lost against NEC. Okay. It lost against Maroons. It lost against Express. Those were 3 games in a row. It came and it has now won 2 in a row. So for me, I think it's a process. And the fact that also there has been changes in the goalkeeping department. We haven't had a goalkeeper that has started 3 games in a row. And that is also because the players have had a little bit of injury. Emojong Anthony has been struggling with some injury, so he misses some games. Then you have Derek Ochan in goal. We've had Mutebi in goal. We've had Emojong in goal, which I think is also a good thing, that you're getting players at least have some playing time. And for me, I think with time, the clean sheets will come. It's not a fast.
Well, the clean sheets will come. That game, KCFC versus Bright Stars, will be at the MTN Omondi Stadium on the 12th of December, which is Tuesday this coming week. And entrance is 10,000 Uganda shillings for the ordinary, 50,000 Uganda shillings for the VIP. And then for the students, you just have to come in a KCCAFC jersey, that is for the university students, with your official or your valid university ID. And if you want to show that university ID is verified at the gate and you're in this season's KCCFC jersey, then you'll be able to watch again. For the students in high school, in secondary, you just have to show up with your ID, and I'm told the schools have closed, so I don't expect to see very many uniforms. So just show up with your valid ID, and then you'll be able to access our gates. Speaking about still KCCFC, 2 players that are on the minds of each and every faithful of the football club. Shaban Muhammad, 6 goals in the Star Times Uganda Premier League, and he's missed a couple of games because due to suspension. And a player in Usama Arafat, who is having a season, and I mean, what a season for this gentleman, Usama Arafat. Recently summoned on the senior national team, that is the Uganda Cranes, and he has got 3 goals this season. He has also been able to score in the Super 8, that tournament that happened before the season. If you're to look at the numbers he's had this season, you might have to add all the seasons he's been at the football club, and you get maybe the tally that he has so far this season. Shaban and Usama.
Yeah, I think I would, for Shaban Muhammad, I think everyone at the football club would be happy to see that Shaban Muhammad is finally getting the goals. Last season, he really struggled because KCCA had to bring him back from Onduparaka. He went back to Onduparaka from Vipers. So the fact that Muhammad Shaban is now scoring the goals and getting the goals, then now the KCCA fans, the admin, KCCA, the club that actually put in the money to have him come back at the club, also shows you that this is something that everyone can be happy about. For me, I think that is now the real Muhammad Shaban that everyone knows. The guy that is very good with heading the ball, because if you look at the goals that he scored, the goal against NEC,
it was 2-0. He scored against Express.
Yes, that was a header.
Yes.
Then
he scored a brace against Vipers.
Against Vipers, he scored a brace, of which the first was a header, and then the second was with the foot. Also, against Gaddafi Football Club, he scored a brace, the first goal being a header, and also the second with his foot. So it shows you that he's a complete player who can score both with the head and with the foot.
He also scored against Maroons Football Club.
Yeah, he also scored against Maroons Football Club. So if you have a player in Muhammad Shaban who is actually doing what he is paid to do, because as a striker, you're supposed to get goals. And it's what he's doing. And for me, I'm really happy for him.
It's worth bearing in mind that all the 6 goals for Mohamed Shaban this season have come at the MTN Omondi Stadium. He's yet to score a goal away. But away from Shaban, that man, Usama Arafat, recently summoned on the senior national team, that is the Uganda Cranes, and he has got 3 goals so far this season.
I think Usama Arafat is one player to watch out for. He has picked up from the real Usama Arafat that we know, and I like the fact that one of his greatest supporters or greatest fan is Coach Rulani, the Mamelodi Sundowns head coach, who's always following up on him, and he also had he came down to his Instagram account and told him that's a good game, and he has actually expects a lot from him. And I know Usama Arafat, just like Mohamed Shaban, should now start to score goals outside the MTN Omondi Stadium, because almost all their goals, are coming from the MTN Omondi Stadium. Now we wait to see if they can replicate the same outside home.
What is your prediction? How many goals do you think each of these players will have at the end of the season? Shaban?
Shaban will have 15 plus goals. Okay. That's my prediction. Usama Arafat may as well also have 15 goals. If they continue the way they are, if KCCA can have that home form, if they can capitalize on the home games, because they've each scored braces in the last game, I think they can get 15 goals each a season. 15
goals each in the season, and who probably will have more goals than the other? Or it will be
Shaban.
A tie?
No, Shaban will definitely have more goals because he has played less and has more goals.
Before we wind this up, someone asked, you're putting on a jersey that he has never seen KCCA FC launch. And he said, if he wants to get a jersey like that, where can they get it? Or any other merchandise, please, in your parting shots, and then we wind this shot up.
I think this good-looking jersey is going to be on sale when it is officially launched for being on sale. Right now, the players use it for traveling. I think those who follow KCCFC on social media see that the players...
We have a player in Patrick Ochieng donning a player's jersey.
I'm a very dangerous number 9, by the way. KCCA may need to sign me. So apart from that, I think next week, the kits may be on sale, and that is something that the club will come out to communicate. But it's my guess.
We'll definitely wait for the club to launch that jersey. But in case you want any merchandise for KCCFC, jerseys, scarves, head socks, jumpers, raincoats, name it, any kind of merchandise, just head down to the MTN Omondi Stadium, at least for the jerseys. We all know they are 50,000 Uganda shillings. And if you take 3, you get them at a discount, and that is 135,000 Uganda shillings instead of 150,000 Uganda shillings. Isn't that Christmas coming early? Well, from everybody on the KCCAFC TV show and the rest of the crew, and I, the host, Moses Magera, have a good night, and we'll definitely be back next week, same time, 8 p.m. From me and the rest of the crew, once again, have a good night.